The Old Man in the Sea, Part 33. The sun was rising for the third time since he had put to sea, when the fish started to circle. He could not see by the slant of the line that the fish was circling. It was too early for that. He just felt a faint slackening of the pressure of the line, and he commenced to pull on it gently with his right hand. It tightened as always, but just when he reached the point where it would break, line began to come in. He slipped his shoulders and head from under the line and began to pull it to pull in line steadily and gently. He used both of his hands in a swinging motion and tried to do the pulling as much as he could with his body and his legs. His old legs and shoulders pivoted with the swinging of the pulling. Well, let's go by parts here. So keep in mind, apparently it always happens like this because the old man was expecting it, right? So this is the boat, the fish is right here, okay? There is a moment the fish doesn't have so much strength to keep going further, so the fish starts circling the boat, right? To try to find a way out. As the fish starts circling the boat, there will be moments where the fish will try to go outward, and then the line will be stretched to the breaking point in that case, and there will be moments where it will be slightly closer to the boat. This is the part where the old man is going to gain line, okay? Keep in mind that the kind of movement he's doing here, right? He's using his body to try to slacken the line and get some more of it. He slipped the shoulders, okay, his old legs and shoulders with a swinging. That's the swinging movement I told you about of the pulling. It is a very big circle, he said, but he is circling. Then the line would not come in anymore, and he held it until he saw drops jumping from it in the sun. Because remember, when the fish is coming a little bit closer, you have to gain line. When the fish is trying to go away, you have to keep it. Okay, so in each circle, and each time the circle will get smaller and smaller. Then the line would not come in, I've already read it, in anymore, and he held it until he saw the drops jumping from it in the sun. Then it started out, and the old man knelt. Knelt is the past of kneel, right? To put your knees on the ground. Knelt down and let it go grudgingly. Grudgingly. I said grunge, sorry. Grudgingly. Look, if you are doing something grudgingly, you are doing it but in a very bad mood, okay? So the idea of let the line go grudgingly, you let the line go but you try the most not to, okay? So he knelt down and let it go grudgingly back into the water. He is making the far part of his circle now, he said. I must hold all I can, he thought. The strain will shorten his circle each time. Perhaps in an hour I will see him. Now I must convince him, and then I must kill him. But the fish kept on circling slowly, and the old man was wet with sweat and tired deep into his bones 2 hours later. But the circles were much shorter now, and from the way the line slanted, he could tell the fish had risen steadily while he swam. For an hour the old man had been seeing black spots before his eyes, and the sweat salted his eyes and salted the cut over his eye and on his forehead. He was not afraid of the black spots. They were normal at the tension that he was pulling on the line. Twice, though, he had felt faint and dizzy, and that had worried him. Because of course, if he passes out, game over, right? I could not fail myself and die on a fish like this, he said. Now that I have him coming so beautifully, God help me endure. I will say 100 Our Fathers and 100 Hail Marys, but I cannot say them now. Consider them said, he thought. I'll say them later. Just then he felt a sudden banging and jerking on the line he held with his two hands. It was sharp and hard feeling and heavy. Okay, so keep in mind, curious, right? So the line is here, across his shoulder, and then suddenly there is jerking and banging on the line. Can you think, before I continue here, what happened? He is hitting the wire leader with his spear. Spear, right? Like the sword, let's say. And the wire leader is the thing that connects the hook to the line. You have a leader there exactly for moments like this. He is hitting the wire leader with his spear, he thought. That was bound to happen. That was supposed to happen. That would happen. He had to do that. It may make him jump, though, and I would rather he stayed circling now. The jumps were necessary for him to take air. But after that, each jump, can widen, make wide, can widen the opening of the hook wound, and he can throw the hook. Don't jump, fish, he said. Don't jump. The fish hit the wire several times more, and each time he shook his head, the old man gave up a little line. I must hold his pain where it is, he thought. Mine does not matter. I can control mine, but his pain could drive him mad. Remember, if the old man were not the old man, then the same thing could happen to him. He would lose, not because of the pain, but because he couldn't control his pain, because his pain drove him mad. Okay? Just like when you see in movies like a fight scene, good movies, not just those, well, when you see in good movies a fight scene, there's this beautiful scene, sorry for the digression, but it's been a long time I don't do digressions, right? There is this beautiful scene in a South Korean movie called Old Boy. Be careful because there is an American one by Spike Lee, if I'm not wrong. The Spike Lee remake, which because it is a remake, I think it's 2013, the remake, because the original one is 2003, if I'm not wrong. So the remake is not bad. Spike Lee is a great director, but not even close to Sang-wook Park, which is the South Korean director. Okay, so watch Old Boy. I think it's a 2003 movie, and it's South Korean. It is not American, alright? By the way, it's a trilogy. It's Old Boy, Sympathy for Mrs. Vengeance, if I'm not wrong, and Mr. Vengeance. It's a trilogy, and the three of them are awesome. You don't need to follow an order there. They're independent. They're a trilogy because they have some affinity. Well, there is a scene, a fighting scene, and it's not a romanticized fighting scene. What do I mean? In Hollywood, fighting scenes are romanticized, meaning that they're full of glamour, so every punch is very beautiful, right? Every kick, is perfectly landed, right? In that fight, you can see a much more human fight, So you're going to be tired, you are going to, I don't know, lean yourself against the wall because you can't fight anymore. And, well, the fighting scene is beautiful. If you watch the movie, just trust me. It's a fighting scene, they are in a hall, Well, but the point is, there is a part, he's fighting there, with lots of people, and one guy stabs him on the back, okay? And then he falls to the ground, And then everybody thinks, well, the fight is over. And then suddenly he rises and he continues fighting. Okay? And at first it may seem a little fantastic because other people would be stabbed on the back and would be there on the ground. But I think it's believable. You know, I really think it's believable. I really think some people can give up to the pain even though that kind of wound wouldn't have killed the person, right? The person told themselves that they couldn't take it any longer. So I guess most of us in a fight like that, if somebody stabs me on the back, I would fall to the ground and I wouldn't have any more energy, you know, and then my enemies would crowd up on me and would kill me, right? That man in the fight decided to ignore the pain, and he decided not to give up, so that he was able to continue fighting, you know, with a knife on his back. You know? I think that's the kind of thing the old man is feeling now, right? Imagine that amount of pain. You had the right, you know, you have the right to give up. Come on, it's too much pain. You can't stand it, right? You can't take it. But the old man decides not to give in. So he says, I can control mine. But his pain, the pain of the fish, could drive him mad. After a while, the fish stopped beating at the wire and started circling slowly again. The old man was gaining line steadily now, but he felt faint again. He lifted some sea water with his left hand and put it on his head. Then he put more on and rubbed the back of his neck. I have no cramps, he said. He'll be up soon and I can last. You have to last. Don't even speak of it. He kneeled against the bow and for a moment slipped the line over his back again. I'll rest now while he goes out on the circle and then stand up and work on him when he comes in, he decided. It was a great temptation to rest in the bow and let the fish make one circle by himself without recovering any line. But when the strain showed the fish had turned to come toward, right? So toward the boat, the old man rose to his feet and started the pivoting and weaving pulling that brought in all the line he gained. The battery is almost over. I'll open another video.